Disclaimer: this analysis is presented purely for educational and historical documentation purposes. It does not promote, glorify, or encourage any form of illegal activity. For clarity and neutrality, all names and events are documented as part of open source research and public record. Viewer discretion is advised due to the subject matter's sensitive nature. Below is a comprehensive, long-form documentary-style account, merging multiple publicly reported articles and official statements into a single cohesive narrative. The purpose of this piece is to provide an educational and historical overview of a notable federal investigation involving individuals from Pomona connected to a larger prison organization. Every effort has been made to adhere to YouTube's monetization guidelines by using neutral language, avoiding explicit details of violence, and refraining from graphic descriptions. All references to controlled materials, criminal enterprises, or clandestine activities are provided solely to document factual events and do not constitute endorsement or encouragement. A complex case spanning nearly a decade. Between February 2012 and June 2020, federal authorities conducted an extensive investigation targeting a criminal enterprise said to be led and influenced by Michael Pomona Mike Lerma, age 68. Lerma, also known as Big Mike, was identified by officials as a fully recognized member of what is often referred to in records as the Mexican Mafia, a long-established prison-based organization. According to prosecutors, Lerma operated from both the Pomona area and various detention facilities, leveraging his position to coordinate the flow of legal proceeds and to organize a range of clandestine activities. Influence in Pomona and beyond. Open source information indicates Lerma's group engaged in multiple forms of misconduct, including 1. Extortion of individuals and smaller street groups for monetary gain. Distribution of controlled materials both inside detention facilities and on the streets. Identity theft and fraud, which reportedly involved obtaining personal information for illicit financial benefits. Robberies and other forms of theft aimed at raising revenue to consolidate organizational influence. 5. Conflicts and related incidents, which, according to court documents, sometimes resulted in severe outcomes. These actions were coordinated through a network of associates and intermediaries who answered, either directly or indirectly, to Lerma. Federal authorities emphasized that a number of these individuals also wielded substantial authority within the enterprise, acting upon Lerma's directives or carrying out independent tasks to further collective goals. Key individuals and their roles. A federal jury ultimately found 4 men responsible for serious charges stemming from their involvement in Lerma's organization. Each individual was said to possess a unique position that contributed to the enterprise's overall reach. 1. Michael Lerma, 68, described in court records as a recognized figure within the higher echelons of a prison-based syndicate, held responsible for orchestrating the extortion of illicit proceeds from multiple street groups and from incarcerated individuals. Accused of directing associates to address internal financial disputes through retaliatory measures. Carlos Gonzalez, 41, allegedly took instructions from Lerma. Found guilty of conspiring to violate federal statutes designed to combat large-scale criminal enterprises. Involved in the underlying incidents that drew attention to the network's reach inside the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles. Juan Sanchez, 33, also implicated as a key participant who carried out tasks under Lerma's supervision. Faced federal counts related to serious criminal activity within the detention system. Jose Valencia Gonzalez, 44, another core associate assigned to ensure that Lerma's directives were enforced. In addition to conspiracy charges, he also faced separate counts tied to unlawful possession of weaponry. All 4 men have been in federal custody since 2018. Following a 20-day trial that concluded on March 28, 2025, each was found guilty of conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, serious offenses in aid of racketeering, First-degree homicide within the special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States in connection with a fatal incident involving an individual identified in court documents by the initials SB. According to official statements, SB lost his life after a conflict over unpaid debts for controlled materials. Prosecutors stated these debts were deemed owed to Lerma's cell within the broader prison network. Although precise details remain limited, publicly available records emphasize that this was an internal dispute, escalated by the enterprise's strict financial code. Additional charges, controlled materials, and firearms. Beyond the core conspiracy and homicide-related convictions, Lerma and Valencia Gonzalez were each convicted of conspiracy to distribute controlled materials in Pomona and at the Metropolitan Detention Center. Meanwhile, Carlos Gonzalez and Valencia Gonzalez were both found guilty of being felons in possession of a firearm and ammunition. Juan Sanchez was acquitted of that particular weapons charge, but still convicted on the principal racketeering and homicide-related counts. Significance of the RICO Act and Vickers statutes. Enacted to dismantle systematic criminal networks by allowing prosecutors to charge leaders who order or assist in the enterprise's illegal activities, even if they do not personally commit each offense. Targets those who carry out severe crimes to maintain or increase their standing in a criminal organization. These laws enable federal authorities to reach individuals who orchestrate far-reaching conspiracies, particularly in cases where internal hierarchies and code of silence norms might otherwise prevent effective prosecution. Larger context, multiple convictions across one broad case. The convictions of Lerma, Carlos Gonzalez Sanchez, and Valencia Gonzalez are just part of a broader federal case that has yielded 16 total convictions thus far. Officials describe the primary objective as dismantling a criminal enterprise believed to generate significant illicit revenue and exert influence over various regions. Notable associated convictions. Cheryl Perez Castaneda, 62, of Pomona, served as a señora, a term public filings used to describe a high-level female associate with authority to act on behalf of certain recognized members. Currently serving a 12-year sentence for orchestrating a lethal plan against an individual and participating in a forcible vehicle-taking incident in July 2013, which escalated into a serious confrontation. Kelly DeShannon, 43, of Laverne, identified as serving as a secretary to Lerma, sentenced to more than 7 years for facilitating a 2013 armed conflict against the same individual targeted by Perez Castaneda, as well as for extortion and distributing controlled materials. Both cases underscore the organizational breadth of Lerma's collective, highlighting how administrative or supportive roles can be critical in facilitating the enterprise's day-to-day operations. Official responses and investigation collaborations. Statements from federal and local authorities. Acting United States Attorney Joseph T. McNally emphasized that the verdicts serve as a robust deterrent, removing individuals who leverage intimidation and large-scale conspiracies to undermine public safety. FBI Los Angeles Field Office's Akil Davis noted that this case underscores how networks with origins in street-level operations can extend their reach into correctional facilities. Davis applauded the multi-year, multi-agency collaboration that led to these convictions. Law enforcement agencies involved. A wide spectrum of agencies contributed to the case, reflecting its broad geographic and investigative scope. 1. Federal Bureau of Investigation, particularly the Los Angeles Field Office 2, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department 3, Pomona Police Department 4, El Monte Police Department 5, U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration 6, San Gabriel Valley Safe Streets Task Force 7, Los Angeles Metropolitan Violent Crime Task Force. The Pomona Police Department acts as the sponsoring agency for the SGVSTF, housing the task force since its creation in 2008. Coordination among federal, state, and local units allowed investigators to collect evidence inside correctional facilities and across city jurisdictions, ultimately piecing together the enterprise's scope and hierarchy, legal proceedings, and future sentencing. All 4 central defendants, Lerma, Carlos Gonzalez Sanchez, and Valencia Gonzalez, awaits sentencing by United States District Judge George H. Wu. Under federal law, each faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison, given the gravity of the charges and the specific statutes under which they were convicted. Assistant United States Attorneys Kyle W. Kahan and Jason A. Gorn of the International Narcotics, Money Laundering, and Racketeering Section, alongside Assistant United States Attorney Kelly M. In of the Violent and Organized Crime Section, led the prosecution. Educational and historical context. This case illustrates multiple facets of organized criminal enterprises within the United States, particularly how a recognized leadership figure can influence activities both on the streets and from within correctional systems. By examining these details, observers gain insight into law enforcement strategies aimed at dismantling entrenched networks. The use of statutes like the RICO Act and VICONS demonstrates the government's commitment to countering systematic wrongdoing that threatens community stability. It is equally important to acknowledge the ongoing collaboration among agencies, federal, state, and local, in tackling such cases. Investigations involving clandestine activities frequently require cross-jurisdictional teamwork and sophisticated methods of evidence gathering, reflecting the complexities inherent in modern law enforcement. Conclusion. In summary, the downfall of this extensive criminal operation resulted from years of painstaking efforts by multiple law enforcement bodies. The convictions of Michael Pomona Mike Lerma, Carlos Popeye Gonzalez, Juan Squeak Sanchez, and Jose Swifty Valencia Gonzalez, alongside over a dozen other co-defendants, bring into focus the magnitude of a network that spanned facilities, communities, and financial rackets. While each individual case and sentencing underscores a distinct piece of the puzzle, collectively they serve as a testament to the methods by which organized criminal enterprises can be pursued and dismantled through persistent investigation and prosecution. This documentary-style overview is presented with an educational lens, underscoring both the historical record of these proceedings and the broader context of federal racketeering cases. The public is encouraged to remain aware of such developments, as transparency and informed discourse play key roles in supporting community well-being and public safety.